You gotta put the you in YouTube, y'all. You can watch 1,000 vlogs, you can watch whoever the best or flow. You have to find your flow, and the only way you can do that is through practicing.
So if you've thought about adding vlogging to the way that you're doing your YouTube channels, I'm excited for today's episode of the Think Media podcast because I have my friend Aaron on Demand as part of our show today. If you're brand new to the show, welcome. My name's Heather Torres, and you're listening to the Think Media podcast. This is the #1 podcast where we're helping you build your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high income and a high profit online business. And I want to encourage you that if today's your first time listening, to subscribe so that you can be connected to us because we release a brand new episode every single Tuesday. Well, today I'm kind of changing things up a little bit. You know, we just had our annual conference, Grow with Video Live. We had some incredible speakers. And if you want to get actually more access to them, you can go to 21videotips.com. I'll tell you more about that during today's episode. But we had an incredible speaker, Aaron on Demand. Now, Aaron on Demand is an entrepreneur. She is someone who is making waves really in the vlogging space when it comes to YouTube. And she did an incredible keynote at Grow with Video Live. You can check out her channel over on YouTube. And she's really a businesswoman. I love that she says she's a creator CEO. And really over the last several years, she's grown her vlog to show that transformation, to show how she was able to go from just being a creator who graduated high school, moved back in with her parents, to someone who is massively growing a business and a brand. And her knowledge that she brought to this stage at Grow with Video Live, I thought would be really great to share with you here. Now, you know, a lot of people think that vlogging is dead. And we've even done videos on this. And I think the old school way of vlogging is dead. I think that the new school way of doing it, where you're bringing people along for short journeys during the day and really having a system in place, is how vlogging can win right now. But let's define quickly what vlogging is. Vlogging is just basically a storytelling aspect, a storytelling way of creating content for your viewers. You can have a vlog channel, which means that every video you're uploading on your channel is this style, or you can actually just incorporate vlogging into how you do your content. And I think that there's a couple of reasons why vlogging is great. One, it builds a great connection with your audience. It helps them to know who you are. It helps them to go behind the scenes with you a little bit more. And it really can help you learn how to show things versus tell things. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that during today's episode with Aaron. But I think it's important for us to just understand kind of the basis, the thesis of what we're talking about today. And that is that vlogging is alive and active if you can do it the right way. In today's episode, we're going to be walking through the 5 essential ingredients to a good vlog, because you shouldn't just grab a camera and press record and not have a plan to go along with it. Now, I want to encourage you that if you've not vlogged before, this can feel like a different way of presenting information. It can kind of actually feel a little bit vulnerable because you're sharing maybe aspects of your life that you don't normally share if you do things like talking head videos like I'm doing right now. But I think that it's great as content creators, as entrepreneurs, for us to pull back the curtain a little bit, to go deeper with our audience and be able to bring them along on the journey. So I'm going to play some clips from Erin's talk that she did, from her keynote that she did, and I'm going to react to him. So you and I are going to go on this journey together today, together.
Since 1983, Nissan has been assembling award-winning vehicles for you, right here in America. And now we've lowered MSRP on our best-selling Rogue and Pathfinder.
Get 0% APR for 60 months on Pathfinder.
Work out. Work that. Push that. Pull that. Run that. Pump that. Work that. Push that. Work out. Work out. Work out.
Note that she did, and I'm going to react to him. So you and I are going to go on this journey together today, together.
First thing is reframing how you think of vlogging, and not just like something easy or fun to do, which it is, but it does take work too. So you got to say these affirmations. My life is dope because I'm in it. say it, y'all. My life is dope because I'm in it. I am what makes my content fire, not my possessions. My space does not define who I am. And I will plan my vlogs so that I'm prepared and will show up confidently.
Okay, so right away, I love that Erin started with that because she's talking really about the reframing of how we think about vlogging. And, you know, for me specifically, I get nervous a lot of times to vlog because one, I'm like, what do I vlog about? And then two, I'm like, is my life interesting enough? I really am sitting at a desk most days. So is that interesting enough to even create content around? And I love how she even just started with the reframing that my life is dope and that, you know that I can do this and that really it's just going to take prior planning in order for this to be a successful vlog. You know, I think about some of my most successful videos on my homeschool channel are actually just day in the life videos, and I planned them out. So even now, as I'm creating content every single week, it's mostly talking head or going live, I'm planning that content. And so the same practices need to go into the vlog style content. So let's get into step number 2.
So step 2 is deciding that your end goal or deciding whatever your end goal is for your vlog or your channel. So if you're running this channel about your business and you want to recruit more, maybe you show more of the work culture, the team dynamic, behind the scenes stuff of what it's like, your snack pantry or whatever. Like making your workspace seem cool or however you want it to seem. So there can be different goals. Sales. If you want to sell more stuff, you know, maybe you focus on product development, showing and telling how to use your product, not overlooking these types of things. And you guys, it can be folded into other fun things that you do, but these are like the primary things that you would focus on. Brand connection. So maybe you focus on some daily to-dos or behind the scenes of getting your business off the ground. So you can have several different goals. You can do all 3 of these with the vlog channel, but it's just about making sure that the story makes sense.
Okay, so one of the things I love that she's sharing is actually incorporating your business or your business goals in your vlog. That was a huge unlock when I was watching this talk as Erin was giving it at Growth Video Live, because I thought, oh, so it doesn't have to be my whole day. It really is just like, what are the goals I'm focused on and what would I want to share with other people? So if I am, right now, I'm in a recruitment phase. Think Media is growing. We're trying to bring on editors. We're trying to bring on operations. We're trying to bring on people that can help us grow to the next phase. I could be sharing that in the behind the scenes of what I do in a daily, you know, as a daily YouTuber or as a operator of a business. Like those could be different things. I think it's really important too that she says you want to show these things. And one of the practices as someone who wants to get into vlogging is to remember that you don't have to tell people what you're doing. It's not like you're walking around and you're like, so now I'm going to the post office. So now I'm going to sit down and have a meeting. It's you just show those things and the storyline comes across. And even there's a pro tip that she has on her slide here. I want to read it for her audio friends. It says, pro tip, think of each vlog as an episode in a full season. The goal dictates each episode. Even that, framing it that way, could be a 4-part vlog series about maybe a really cool conference that you go to, or maybe it's a 4-part series if you're a real estate agent about the process of finding a buyer, selling the house, closing on the house, and you really are bringing your audience behind the scenes with you. Maybe you are a stay-at-home mom who's doing a cooking channel. Maybe it's about going to the grocery store is one vlog. Second is actually doing the cooking and prepping. The third vlog could be, you know, how do you handle leftovers? Could you make 3 recipes out of it? And then the 4th blog could be how you then incorporate your budgeting into your buying of your groceries. There's so many ways that you can do that. So my question to you, Think Media fam, is what story do you want to tell? How can you line this up with your goals and add it into your vlog formats? I think that's really key. Now let's get into step number 3. What's the big announcement today?
We have a big announcement, you're right. We're introducing Agent Force for HR Service. This is a completely new approach to employee support. We're bringing together AI agents right into the flow of work so you can support your employees even better. So what does this mean for your employees? If HR leaders want to provide the best employee experiences, why don't we share the best support technology with them? So that's exactly what we've done. We brought Service Cloud together with Agentforce to transform that employee experience. So now employee support can be quick, and can be conversational, personalized, and allow for seamless handoffs between AI and humans. So when cases are handed off to your HR reps, they don't have to solve them alone. Agentforce is there to assist them, helping them resolve everything much faster.
All right, so going back to Sharon's situation, she wants to first understand how much leave balance does she have before she applies for a PTO. And because of our integration with the backend HRIS system, we are able to pull her leave balance right here on the HR service agent. Great, so she has enough leave balance. She wants to submit a PTO request. And this is where the magic starts happening. All Sharon needs to do is enter the information. Because HR Service Agent is now available on Slack, she is able to quickly invoke the HR Service Agent, click on the common action here, which is the employment verification letter, enter the email ID, give a couple of details like who the letter is addressed to, and just like that, the employment verification letter gets generated.
How do you think the new Agentforce for HR service innovations are going to impact the HR service experience?
It's going to ultimately provide a better employee experience.
Dad, I can't kill dragons.
But you will.
Our parents' war is about to become ours.
What are you gonna do about it?
Probably something stupid.
We've killed hundreds of us!
And we've killed thousands of them!
There's something else on their island. You don't know what you're up against.
How to Train Your Dragon. Rated PG. In theaters June 13th. Get tickets now.
Now let's get into step number 3.
Okay, number 3 is to keep a task log. If you find yourself struggling with figuring out what do I actually do in a day, because we're living our lives, you don't think about all the things that you're doing. Start with writing every task down you do for a week. I know it sounds kind of tedious, but it works professionally and personally. And then break those large tasks into tiny tasks. So if you have team meeting on there, that's kind of a big task. So you might want to break that down into prepping your meeting agenda, reviewing KPIs for the month, or meeting notes, or a recap, or whatever it is that your team meeting is. And you could turn that into a whole vlog about a team meeting and how you prep for it or whatever, okay? So breaking those big tasks down into small tasks, and then stop trying to reinvent the wheel. This is the thing that's gonna take a lot of pressure off of you when you're vlogging, because when I was starting, I would be like, okay, well, I showed myself doing this last time, so now I gotta show something different this time and something different the next time. And you don't have to do that, okay? That's the great thing about vlogging, is that, honey, you keep recycling that formula over and over and over again. People are gonna keep watching. In fact, that is what brands you. So when you have repetition, that creates your brand. So people know every time I start my vlog, I say, "What's up, beautiful people?" That's part of the branding now, because I'm not saying something different every single time. First of all, it takes too much to think about a new intro every single video. So, you every single morning, or if you do whatever you do every single day, if you pray in the morning, if you go and you sit and you work out or do yoga, show those parts, because those are the things that people are going to build those connection points off of.
Okay, first off, repetition and routine build trust. That's a fire quote right there. That's tweetable from Aaron. Repetition and routine builds trust. And this is what I struggle with the most when it comes to vlogging. And I'm sure if you're listening to this might be the struggle point for you as well, to really try and figure out, what do I include in my vlogs? Yes, you've signed up and you're like, I want to vlog. 2, you're like, hey, how do I actually do this? I don't really even know what I should be including. And that's my main main struggle point. And even thinking about, every day I'm pretty much just sitting at a computer running the company. And then some days I'll be live. Most days I'm prepping content or having team meetings. I could be incorporating those things. Even right now, literally I'm sitting here recording this podcast for you. I could have made this a vlog about the entire process of how I prepped this podcast, filming this podcast, having someone that's helping me. So even the idea of team versus me as a solo creator, and then what it looks like to publish this podcast. I could have made a vlog. Now I'm kicking myself for not thinking about this, but I will now, thanks to Aaron on Demand. But I could have done that. And, I pulled a stat when Aaron was talking about the idea of, repetition and routine builds trust. I was thinking about, as content creators, as business owners, we want to be authentic. We want our customers and our community to trust us. And there was statistics actually that prove this. 88% of consumers say that authenticity is important when deciding what brands and companies that they like to support. And 46% of consumers buy based on trust alone. That's huge. And I think having these types of formats, being a creative creator, can allow you to go deeper with your audience, to build more trust. And I think about that often as we're building Think Media as a company. We've got different content creators. It started with Sean, and then it was Heather, and then it was Omar, and then it was Nolan. We're building these different influencers, basically, but we want them to all be trustworthy in the eyes of our consumer. And so maybe pulling back the curtain a little bit more, letting you into our worlds a little bit more of how do I do this as a homeschool mom of 3 who's also running this company in ministry and loves to travel with my family? How could this be part of what you're doing also? Erin also did a really good job with this with her top 3 journal. And if you actually want more tips like this that we're doing here, we actually have 21 video marketing tips just like this that we've exclusively put together for you, the people in our community, so that you can learn these skills and grow your business through the power of video. So go to 21videotips.com to get access to that. Now, earlier in her talk, Erin talked about her top 3 journal and how she was incorporating that inside of her vlog. It started with her writing 3 of her top goals. And because she did that in every single vlog, this is taking it back to that repetition and routine builds trust. She did that every time she was posting a vlog, she was sharing her top 3. And then her community started to rally around her and share their top 3. And she thought, I wonder if I'm like this and my community's like this, and we're all struggling with trying to write our goals, I should make a product. And she did. She actually made a journal called Your Top 3, and that's generated over $50,000 because she was just being repetitive with the part of her routine that her audience was clued into. And this is exactly what we see with some of the best influencers. Gary Vee does this, It's so cool to be able to watch Gary Vee in his everyday, but here's what he's going to do. He's going to be in meetings. He's going to say something funny. He's going to be around his team. He's going to be, encouraging, and he's also going to be a little abrasive. That's why Gary's vlogs always win. He's bringing you along on his process. He's bringing you along with what he's doing. So I think this is something to take heart in, is this idea that as we are creating this type of content, we're overthinking it. We're really overthinking it. We could actually just be creating content with the idea of repetition of what we're normally doing in our everyday lives by just writing it down ahead of time and knowing that by doing that, we could be creating content around that. So here's the question for you. What could you do?
Push that. Pump that. Work that. Push that. Work out.
What defines tough? It's a brain tumor that steals your control, but never your courage. What defines tough? It's steady and exact, navigating complex pathways, preserving vital functions, and restoring what was lost. What defines tough? At Loyola Medicine, it's more than what we do. It's who we are.
That's just a staple moment in your day. What could you do that's a staple moment in the vlogs that you're creating in whatever the series is that you're doing at the time? All right, let's get into step number 4.
And then step 4 is creating a storyline based on the tasks. Okay, so if your task is packaging orders, Some of those micro tasks under there might be organizing products, maybe going onto Shopify to fulfill orders, maybe you're packaging the orders, and then you go to the post office to drop them off, okay? If you're vlogging, you have to create a story, okay? So the beginning maybe it's Monday, you've got orders in over the weekend, but you realize you ran out of packing supplies. So that's kind of the hook. That's the thing that makes your story, makes people pull through your story. So introducing conflict is a good thing, and it doesn't always happen. I don't want you to think that you need to fabricate conflict in your vlogs, but what I do know is that a lot of YouTubers or content creators will omit all of the conflict, all of the good juicy stuff that you just taking it out because you want to seem so perfect. So you have to keep that stuff in. So if you ran out of stuff, or if you know, whatever happens, like, show that and be authentic in that. Make it part of your story. The middle, you may go out searching for packing supplies. Maybe you find them, maybe you don't. And you take us through your packaging process. Now, the good part about vlogging too is that you can still add those bits. Instead of having one sit-down video about how to package orders. First step, this. Second step, this. You can actually like infuse those tips throughout while we're seeing you actually do it. So maybe you give us some value bits about customer service, about packaging, you know, your orders, some hacks that you found, the best packing boxes or whatever, okay? And then the end, you successfully drop off the packages at the post office, all right? So this is more of how you take those tasks and actually create a story out of them.
So what I think, especially with this tip particularly, is that this is what vloggers that are winning do really well. There is a storyline. And I love that, you know, she wasn't sharing the entire day. She was saying, no, actually, this is the storyline. It's all about the packaging. It's all about getting the orders out. And that is also, you know, subconsciously telling people you have something to sell. You're packaging orders. There's other people that want to buy this. So I think it's really cool that she was, you know, even giving us the context around just a simple task or a simple project, a goal that you're trying to complete, and bringing your audience along with that. And, you know, a lot of times vloggers think, oh, or people that are vlogging think, oh, well, I can't do searchable titles. Yes, you can. How to sell things on Shopify is still a searchable title, but the content and how you deliver that to your audience could be in a 4-part series all about actually getting those orders to your clients. So I think it's really interesting how she was talking about, and this takes practice. You know, this is simple, but it's not easy. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But I think this is a challenge to us to level up as content creators, to level up how we're thinking about delivering content to our audiences and actually growing a deeper connection with them, rather than having every single video be exactly the same and always just thinking about how can I put out more and more and more, and really thinking about the connection, really thinking about building a brand, which means that they need a lot of touch points with you, which means that they need to actually be a part of the process. And I think about some of my favorite vloggers that I love to watch, Erin being one of them, is I've been along for the journey with her, and I've been able to see her grow this company, become a CEO and build a team and get a studio and get married and get their house and all these things. And by doing that, it makes me more invested in her. Like, I see the cool shirt she's wearing. I don't know if you can see it if you're not watching this on YouTube, but she's got this cool shirt and I'm like, I want to buy that. That's her merch, and I'm invested with her, and I want to be a part of what she's building. So I think it's really smart to be thinking about how can you simplify it? How can you make it simple? And how can you deliver the content to your people? All right, let's get into step number 5.
And then plan your vlogs around big events. If you're somebody who actually really does not do anything, which I highly doubt most of you do, plan it around, I highly doubt most of you don't have things to do. I know y'all ain't loners, y'all. Plan it around big events. So photo shoots, if you have a big photo shoot, or if you have your first client call or your first client presentation or session, if you're shopping for merch supplies, if you have work travel, speaking engagements. In fact, is anybody vlogging today? Okay, yes, this is the content, you guys. This is like content heaven. So, you know, if you want to start a vlog and you haven't really known, the story is already baked into this event. Like, you know, take advantage of being out and doing things. And sometimes you kind of have to create that, like how we show in the last slide.
So
Visit the Northwest Florida beaches and find the adventurous side of beachside. Here, every day is an opportunity for an exciting new discovery. And relaxing is just one of hundreds of things to do by the water. So keep your sandals in sport mode and don't be afraid to get your feet wet. Because here, trying something new has never been more fun. Discover Beachside's adventure side for yourself.
Next time, son. Co-pilot, what move should I have made to avoid checkmate from my dad?
You should have moved your queen to e5. Yesterday, you couldn't see the move. Today, you see the whole board.
Show in the last slide.
So what big events do you have? When I think about even my life, this right now, like actually just filming today is more of a big event than most days when I'm sitting in my sweatpants at my computer, planning content or being with my kids, doing homeschool. Like this is an event, me actually putting on makeup, getting here, planning the content, being in front of the camera. But then what are some big events that are happening in your life? Do you have photo shoots? Are you meeting with the client? Do you have a big interview that you're preparing for? Maybe you have a channel that's all around real estate or finance. Is there a new course you're taking, or what does that look like in your life that you could be doing? And really, this takes prior planning. If there's one thing I've learned from Erin so far, it's that she's not just picking up the camera and pressing record. Like I said before, she actually is like making an effort to plan this stuff out. So this means that before you go on that trip, before you get on that call, before you have to go to the post office, that you're planning out what this content is going to be. And if you actually want to see Erin's video of her experience at Growth Video Live, if you want kind of like that, what would that be, like the Matrix, right? Like that idea of like she's talking about it and now you can see what she did. I'll make sure to post that link down in the YouTube description as well in the show notes of the podcast itself. So if you want to see how she actually incorporates this and does that with a storyline, that was a multi-day event and she made it into one vlog. So you can learn from the expert like Erin to see how you could do that. And actually, I was just studying her video because I have several speaking engagements coming up and I'm thinking, I want to vlog these. I want to share this content and I want to share the behind the scenes of what it takes to even make it to some of these types of events. So I think that's a really key point. Now let's get into the ending of this section from Erin.
Ultimately, you got to put the you on YouTube, y'all. You have to make sure that you can watch 1,000 vlogs. You can watch whoever the best vloggers are. And you can try to imitate them to a T, and it still ain't gonna feel right. You have to find your flow. You have to find your flow, and the only way you can do that is through practicing. So you may have a few dudded vlogs where you just got to tank them things, or you can actually post those too. You just have to believe in yourself and make sure that you're making it unique to yourself, because once you start doing it for you and doing it in your way and not caring what however somebody else vlogs, that's when you're going to start seeing your vlogs just pop. Okay.
Yes, you have to put the you in YouTube. I love that she said that, because that really is like why we're creating content on the platform. If you are trying to build a personal brand, if you're trying to attract new clients, new leads, new people to come into your world, then you've got to put the you in YouTube. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And they've got to build that rapport with you in order for them to want to give you their dollars, right? They've got to build that rapport with you in order for them to want to invest on a level with you in whatever you're selling at whatever point that is. I don't care if it's a $5 thing or a $5 million thing. You've got to be the you in YouTube. And with this, I love how she said, just experiment. Like, what if in the next quarter you create a vlog? What if in the next year you commit to 4 vlogs? What if you commit to a series in your channel that's all in vlog format? Remember, this is just a format. And at Think Media, we teach you 16 different formats that you could be doing for your videos. This is just one style. And Erin's been able to monetize that style. She's been able to grow an audience with that style. So this is still a viable way to be sharing content. And I want to just dispel that you don't have to have the perfect kitchen. You don't have to have the perfect studio. You don't have to make sure that everything is perfect in order to vlog, because we need the you in YouTube. So if you're like me and you still haven't folded your laundry that's sitting on your dresser, that's okay. You can still vlog with that mess around your house. It's still okay. And I'm saying that to you as I'm preaching it to myself, because I'm still nervous to take the camera and press record. Well, I hope that you liked this style of content here on the podcast. If you did, let me know in the comment section below on YouTube, or let me know in the show notes. And if you haven't yet downloaded the 21 video tips from marketing experts like Alex Hermosi, Patrick Bet-David, Aaron On Demand, Vanessa Lau, Shalene Johnson, and more, you can get all of those exclusive tips for you at 21videotips.com. Thanks for listening to today's episode, and we'll catch you in the next podcast. Bye.
The most important tip that I want to give about this first question is just like, don't put such an immense amount of weight on this very first deal that you're doing, because believe me, what you don't want to do is screw up a partnership with your dream brand.
Welcome to the Think Media podcast. My name is Heather Torres, and I'm the host of your show here, where we're helping you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high profit online business. And if you're new to the show, I want to welcome you. And if you're returning and part of our Think Media fam, thank you for tuning in week after week. We drop a brand new episode for you every single Tuesday. And over on our YouTube channel, we actually have so many videos that we're uploading there that go along with the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed over on YouTube, as well as wherever you're consuming this content on. Now, every single week, we love to dive into a topic that's going to help you grow your YouTube channel. But today, it's going to help you grow your income. And that's because we are talking all about brand sponsorships. Have you ever been someone who wanted to figure out, how do I get those brands to actually send me free things, but not just send you free product, actually pay to make content happen? How do you partner with them? What do you say? Are there things in the contract you should be aware of? And what are some of the mistakes that content creators make when it comes to actually partnering with brands? Over the last several years, we've partnered with a lot of different brands here at Think Media, grossing close to, well, over 7 figures, close to almost multiple 7 figures. And through those experiences, we've learned a lot. And part of what we learned are ways that we can actually increase our prices. And someone who helped us do that was our friend Justin Moore. He's going to be our special guest here on the show today. And I'm excited to bring him because he has such a wealth of experience working with brands. Justin Moore is actually a sponsorship coach and the founder of Creator Wizard. It's a school and community that teaches you how to find and negotiate your dream brand deals so that you can stop leaving thousands on the table. Along with his wife, April, he's been a full-time creator for over 8 years and has personally made over $4 million working with brands. He's also run an influencer marketing agency for over 7 years that's helped other creators earn an additional $3 million. Justin actually brings a very unique perspective because not only has he been a creator in the trenches doing the sponsorships for years, but he's also run an agency where he has insider knowledge behind how the big brands are choosing which influencers to partner with and why they pass on others. Now, Justin's mission is to enable creators big and small to land 1 million paid brand sponsorships by 2032. So if you want to jump into figuring how to do this, lean into today's featured conversation with our special guest, Justin Moore. Well, Justin, welcome to the Think Media podcast. This isn't your first appearance on Think Media. You're an alumni now, so welcome back to the show.
When I said you need to have me on again, I didn't know it'd be so soon, but here I am.
So we had Justin on one of our Inner Circle trainings, which is one of our monthly coaching programs that we had here at Think Media, and he blew our students away, and we had the most requests to get Justin back on. So I thought no better place than bringing you over here to the Think Media podcast. And I'm so excited because we're going to be diving into how to get your first brand deal. You know, I think this is an elusive thing to a lot of creators of like, I know brands can pay me to do my content. I have no clue who to reach out to. How much do I charge? There's so many questions when you get started. So we're going to break all that down today. But Justin, I want to start at the very beginning because, you know, I talked about who you are and just the massive impact that you're having on Think Media, as well as on so many different content creators' income streams. And so take me back, though, to really the beginning. How did you even get into being someone who really understands this brand partnership world?
Yeah, it's a great question, Heather. So first of all, thank you. I appreciate that, those kind words. You know, from my perspective, like we had no idea what we were doing when we started out. I just want to make that very clear, okay? Right? So it's just like, you know, when my wife April and I started on, you know, she started her first YouTube channel in 2009. So way back in the day before there was a partner program, before you could make, she got rejected from the partner program 3 times. So it's not like we were like out the gates, had like 1 million followers, and like we were making all this money. And it's like, no, like we were just like the rest of us, we were floundering. We didn't know what we were doing, you know. Early on, like we were not being compensated. Like when brands reached out, it was free products, right? We were like, my wife in particular was so stoked to get this because her first channel was around makeup and beauty and cosmetics and so on. And so getting free makeup, Heather, makeup's expensive, isn't it? Right? It's like really expensive. And so the prospect of getting like hair tools and makeup and cosmetics and stuff, she was just like mind blown, like super excited just about that. And so that was like where we lived for a very long time. It wasn't just like, oh, we got a bunch of, you know, free, but it was like years of free stuff because remember, this is 2009, 2010, 2011, early days of YouTube and social media. Brands really did not get it. Like that was not something like, oh, let's go pay content creators. Let's go pay YouTubers to like talk about us. For them, it was like in the early days, we were, you know, had no idea what we were doing. And so we would talk, yeah, free products, send it over. Sure, we'll link it. We'll do all this stuff, right? And so like the brands, they were seeing all these sales. They were seeing, you know, we could see, you know, Amazon associates like revenue and stuff. Like, so we definitely could see that, but it wasn't like people were compensating us like flat fees to like talk about them quite yet. Right. And so like for them, the beauty brands, I will give them credit versus a lot of other types of industries. They saw the direct correlation early. Like they were just like, we send this person free stuff, they talk about it and we make a bunch of sales. Right. So it's like to them, it was like they got it. And so it was those early conversations were, you know, it was, yeah, we still had to do education, but eventually they were finally like, okay, yeah, we'll pay you $100. And we were like, yeah, so we were so stoked, right? Like we were so excited, like, because I was like, you know, in the early days, we were young, we were, you know, in our early 20s, like just graduating college essentially. So like a couple $100 was like super meaningful to us. It still is super meaningful, right? That's like your car bill or your groceries or like whatever, like your phone bill. It's like very meaningful even today, right? And so that the first thing I'll say is that, yes, like, you know, early on when we were creators, I've been doing this a very long time. I just want to say, like, it's really important to, like, I am a big on not like being so hard on yourself with this type of stuff. Because like, you know, it's not like you can take a class about this, like now you can take my course.
No, you can't.
Before, you can't, there's no college classes. There's no, like, none of it. You watch some YouTube videos or something, but it's like, not like there's like certifications or degrees you can get in this type of thing. And a lot of us, are like, you know, probably a lot of us listening to this are starting to make an income, potentially making a career for ourselves in this space, right? And so that's the first thing I want to say is like, if you're a creator listening to this, don't be so hard on yourself. Like we made so many mistakes over the years, you know, you name it. Like, you know, one in particular was like, I remember we gave brands, we would turn on the TV one time when we saw my wife's face, a clip from one of her YouTube videos in a TV ad. And we were like, did we let them, like, grant them the rights to do that? Let me go look at the contract. Oh, yep, we sure did, just for free products, you know? So it's like, we've made every mistake in the book. And so, you know, a lot of the knowledge, and now I'm like educating creators around this whole process, was from painful mistakes that we made along the way. And me just being like, you know, I just don't want people to make these mistakes anymore. But then the other aspect is just that I have also run an influencer marketing agency for many years. Also on the other side of it is like, I actually have now hired lots and lots of creators to actually do campaigns, of paid creators to be like, hey, go talk about this brand who was like our client. And it's just like a totally different perspective. And so that's where I come to it. It's like, you need to be professional. You need to be communicative. You need to be responsible. This is a business transaction when you are working with brands and advertisers. And so I kind of have these two different perspectives, and that's kind of what I bring to my content.
So good. And actually, one of the reasons why I geek out on your content, Justin, yes, I am part of the Creator Wizard community. Do you have a name for the Creator Wizards? Is that what we are? Just Creator Wizards?
Well, I would say I don't have a name. I did. Let me show you my new merch, though. Hold on.
Okay. Well, we don't have a name either, you know.
I was thinking, if you're on the podcast, you can't see this, but it's just, I have these new hats that say monetize. How dope is that? So I was thinking the monetizers. I don't know. I totally made it. I don't know.
I'm in. Well, I am a monetizer then. And one of the reasons, Justin, why I wanted to bring your expertise to the podcast is because not only are you a creator who, if I can be humbled about your numbers, have made multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars from brands, right? And I mean, we're talking multiple, like, let's be real. But you've also helped other creators understand how to do this. And I think that's where your specialty has been so valuable for what we've even experienced here at Think Media. Like you said, no one teaches you these types of things as you're starting to grow your brand, you're starting to grow your YouTube channel, your personal brand is starting to explode. So I want to start with going back to that beginning first deal. You know, we have a lot of content creators who we teach them how to grow their influence on YouTube, how to start monetizing using the YouTube partnership program. But then there's a lot of content creators who are ready to start making those brand partnerships. What does it look like? And let's start from the beginning of, like, how do you even find brands that you want to work with?
It's a great question. Okay, so the first hair that I would split about your first deal is whether you're the one pitching, right? So you're actually reaching out to a brand and saying, hey, I want to work with you, versus you getting an unsolicited inquiry into your email inbox, right? Maybe you put your email address in your about section on your bio, or your about tab on your YouTube community or your YouTube channel, right? So it's like, that's the very first and most important distinction to make, because in my experience, actually, it's the latter that happens to most creators. It's like they don't actually be like, I'm not big enough, I can't work with brands, so I'm not going to go reach out to them, right? Most people, it's just like, oh my God, I got this email. Like, what? This brand wants to work with me? Like, oh, I don't know what the heck do I do? I don't know what to say. I don't know how to negotiate. I don't know, blah, 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 right? And so, like, let's talk about that one, because I think that that's more frequent, right? Where it's like, I got an email in my inbox. What do I do now? I actually have a video on my channel called "A Brand Emailed Me, Now What?" Right? Because this is the thing that happens oftentimes, right? And so there's a couple things that you need to remember here, which is that, number one, you have to respond, okay? You can't ignore it. I can't tell you how many creators I've talked to have just been so intimidated by the whole process that they literally just delete it or ignore it. And that blew my mind when I first heard that. But I can remember back to when I was, we were starting out, that it's intimidating. I totally get that. But the first and most important thing you need to do is just show a sign of life. Respond. Hey, this is super interesting. I'd love to hear more. Just something as simple as that, just responding in a timely fashion. Ideally within 6 hours, ideally, max within 24 hours, though, would be great if you could respond and just say, tell me more. Okay, that's it, right? And then allow them to tell you more about the opportunity. Is it going to be how many videos? Is it going to be an integrated video? If it's going to be a dedicated video, like, just let them talk, right? And that's the first step, is because to some degree it is a fact-finding mission. You're kind of a detective. You need to, like, let them talk a little bit, right? If you're comfortable hopping on a call, that would be even better. If they come to you and be like, well, we'd love to hear your perspective, and you'd be like, okay, let's just, like, get on a Zoom and, like, hash it out, right? But I get it. That might be a little intimidating as well if it's your first deal. And so the biggest, like, perspective mindset shift I would have around this thing is that you are going to make mistakes. Like, it's not like you're going to be flawless for your very first deal. And accepting that, I think, is really important, because then it gives you kind of the freedom and the liberty to be like, okay, this is kind of a test run, right? I just want to see what it's like interacting with the brand. They're going to send me the product. I'm going to make some content. I'm going to, maybe they're going to give me some feedback, some edits on it. I'm going to post it. Yeah, I'm going to make a few mistakes here and there, but I'm going to learn from it. Right. And that's, like, the most important tip that I want to give about this first question is just, like, don't put such an immense amount of weight on this very first deal that you're doing, because believe me, what you don't want to do is screw up a partnership with your dream brand. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's just like, iron out all those wrinkles the first time with some of these, lower tier brands, so that you can make some of these larger partnerships down the line work really well.
So good. All right. Recapping Think Media podcast listeners, you have to respond. Okay. This is number one. You have to respond. And I love that you hit that, Justin, because we were working with a client and he was like, yeah, I've been emailed like 6 times from these brands. And I'm like, 6 times? You need to respond, okay? So that's number one. Think Media Podcast, respond. And I love how you said that. And I can really tell you from experience of never working with brands and then working with brands. At first, you really don't actually know. And when you get on with them, they can actually explain to you what the campaign is. I want to talk about that a little bit because a lot of times brands have budgets. Well, actually all the time, brands have budgets. And so what they're tasked to do, whoever's reaching out to you, what they're tasked to do is spend this budget money, and they're spending it on influencers, and you've been selected as one of those influencers. Now, I will say, Justin, there are scams out there, so you want to make sure that you are getting, it's legitimate. If it's a business, it's a business. That's what I always tell people. You'll know the difference between a non-business and a real business. But you want to hear their ideas. Talk about that for a minute, Justin, because I know you really have an insight in the idea that this is a cyclical thing for brands to be reaching out to creators. So if you mess up the first time, you could be on the cycle again, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I think that this is one of the number one mistake that creators make when they're doing their first brand deal is the brand reaches out and says, well, how much do you charge for a YouTube video or something? And the creator says, $500. They just make something up, right? I get it. You don't know in the beginning, right? But instead of saying that, use this magical phrase. You say, tell me what the goal of this campaign is. What is success to you? And they may tell you something that's very surprising. So for example, perhaps they say to you, well, we really just love, your content. It's super high quality. We love, you're right in our niche. And we actually just really want to repost your video on our YouTube channel. Or we want to embed it on our website or something, right? Which is very different than we want you to talk about us on your channel. And we were hoping to drive sales from the link in the description box. That's a very, very different partnership. And if you hadn't have asked that, you probably would have pitched, well, one integration is this much and this type of thing, right? But by simply asking it that very easy question, you can completely change the dynamic of the relationship. Now you can pitch them, well, maybe I can create some content for your YouTube channel. I don't even post it, right? And that's going to be probably a lot more money. And the other thing that's really nice about that is that now your rate is completely detached from how many subscribers you have, right? Or what your viewership is like, right? Because that's not what the point of the campaign is that you're actually you're a freelance content creator for them, right? The other thing really important thing to remember is put yourself in the brand's shoes. Okay. If they are not hiring you to help them create content or spread the word for their brand, what are their alternatives? Well, they could go out and they could hire an agency, right? They maybe could hire a full-time employee to create the content for them. These are all things that are quite costly, right? So I don't encourage you to say, oh, hire me because I'm so much more cost effective than these other things. But it's just very important to have that mindset of don't shortchange yourself, right? $50 is not an adequate level of compensation for the work that you're putting in, editing the video, shooting it, doing all this pre-production and all this stuff, right? No, you have to value you have to understand the value that you're actually providing to the brand. And so just putting yourself in their shoes can be very helpful on your first brand deal to understand that you are worth actually quite a bit more than you think.
Well, I hope you're getting value out of today's featured conversation. And I wanted to let you know that if you're someone who's trying to figure out how to do YouTube, maybe you've been thinking about starting your channel, but you're just not ready yet. Well, today is your day. I want to invite you to a free class that I have called the How to Get to Your First 1,000 Subscribers on YouTube. Make your first $1,000 without fancy equipment, years of editing experience, or 50 hours a week to spend on your YouTube channel. I have a free class you can go to at thinkmasterclass.com to get signed up today to be a part of this creator revolution. There are over 425,000 full-time content creators happening right now, and you could be the next one. But you've got to figure out how to get to your first 1,000 subscribers to be able to unlock a lot of those monetary benefits. So if you want to figure out how to make some extra cash in this season with your YouTube channel, then this is the class for you. You can sign up at thinkmasterclass.com, and I'll see you over on that free on-demand YouTube class. Well, let's get back into today's featured conversation with our special guest. So good. All right. That was a review piece I wanted you guys to listen to. Tell me what your goal is. That is so good because it does reframe even what the conversation is. And that actually is one of the best negotiation tactics to even know where the starting line is. So Justin, really good on that. When you are helping content creators and you're matching those content creators with brands, what are some negotiation things that content creators should be aware of when they're making that content? I know you said, turn on the TV and there's your wife's face. How do we even know in this world, like what should we be on the lookout for? What are some pieces that you're like, don't do that when you're in those negotiation phases of creating those brand deals?
So I've got I'm a big fan of frameworks, okay, and like acronyms and stuff. So I love making up my own. And so I have one that's actually very simple and can help you with your first brand deal, which is what I call the DO rule, which is DUE. Okay, and the D stands for deliverables. If you're trying to understand the dynamics of a campaign and they're reaching out to you, you have to understand, what are they actually asking you for, right? We mentioned at the beginning, like, is this going to be an integrated video or is this going to be a dedicated video? Those are actually two very different things that I would actually recommend. You should probably be charging 2 to 3 times the amount of money for a dedicated video that's talking all about this brand or this product, right? And so deliverables, you have to, a lot of times brands will reach out and just be like, oh, we just want to do a couple of posts and like collaborate. No, how many posts? Is it going to be 2 or 3 videos? Like, that's a big difference, right? You got to tell me. All right, so that's the do rule. That's the D in the do rule. The U is one that a lot of creators don't think about, which is the usage rights, okay? And what this is that what does the brand actually want to do with your content beyond you posting it, right? Because it's one thing to post it on your YouTube channel, but do they want to embed it on their website? Do they want to repost it on their YouTube channel? Do they want to run like YouTube ads with your content? And if they do, for how long do they want to do it? Is this something that they're going to be running for 5 years, right? Where in essence, your name and likeness, as they call it, is going to be tied to this brand or this product for a long time. So it's something you absolutely need to be asking about and charging accordingly for. And then the E in the do rule is exclusivity, right? Are they actually going to be asking you to be exclusive to their brand or their product or their service for a certain duration? Because, there's an opportunity cost associated with that. If one of their competitors, approaches you 6 months down the line and you signed a 1-year exclusivity clause, then that's going to be challenging, right? And so that's like a very simple framework to use when it comes to trying to scope a potential partnership, and all of those factors you need to consider.
Okay, so content creators, I hope you were taking notes during that because you're going to sound so educated on your first deal already because you now have the do framework. That is the deliverables, the usage rights, and the exclusivity. And this is something that here at Think Media, we've learned from you, Justin. We went through your class. We took, the content that you have out there. And because of those things, we were able to double and sometimes triple our asking costs because of those specific things. They want to use our likeness. They want to use those videos in other capacities. And so we were able to negotiate additional fees of those things and increase the budget that we got from a brand just because of knowing that do rule. So thank you, Justin. I'll give a tip jar maybe one day. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so thrilled to hear it.
I love it. Okay, so you mentioned something that I know is always a sticking points for those first time content creators and brand deals, and that's the contracts, okay? No one teaches us all of this stuff. And I know sometimes that brands are working with multiple content creators and they do have the upper hand of understanding contracts and what's in those. What are some tips you have for content creators in one, either making their own contracts if that's what the brands are asking, or 2, how to really go through those to know what they should be looking for in those deals?
All right, I'm going to give a piece of advice that may be somewhat contrary to what other people might suggest. But I think it's a very, very important thing to understand as a creator, especially if you're thinking about doing your first brand deal, which is that I believe that you should go out and hire a lawyer to create a contract template for you, a boilerplate contract template for you, where the only thing that you change is maybe the last page, which is oftentimes called the appendix. And the only things that you're changing about the deal are the deliverables, right? The usage rights, the exclusivity. You're just like putting those in there based on whatever the brand is saying. And then you have that document, that boilerplate document that's kind of been blessed by a brand or blessed by a lawyer to be able to utilize if you need to. And the reason that I'm saying that that's so important for you to do now, even if you do not have a deal in hand, is because this is an investment in your creator business. If you were starting any other business, if you were starting a brick and mortar shop, there are costs of doing business, right? You have to buy the ingredients, you have to hire personnel, you have to do X, Y, Z. For some reason, a lot of creators be like, oh yeah, I'll buy a new camera or I'll buy new editing software, or a new laptop, or whatever. That's an investment in my business. But hiring a lawyer to like have a, protect myself, like in the event that I'm going to go partner with brands, somehow that's like, no, I'm going to wait until I get a deal that like because I get it, right? Like sometimes, the deal's not a ton of money. Maybe it's $200 or $300 or something. And then if you have to hire a lawyer, well, there goes all your profit. You pay them for a couple hours and it's a net loss. But like, no, this is an investment in your business. So even if you do not have a deal in hand, I think it is a prudent thing to do as a creator to like invest. If you want to actually make an income doing this, being a creator, this is one of those investments, just like all that other equipment that you love buying, to formalize your own business.
I love that reframe because you're so right. We are easily drawn to the shiny object of the new lighting or the new thing, but it's kind of that back-end business stuff that gets left behind. And I can tell you from knowing content creators who have had their likeness taken, who have had content, who have literally done the work for pennies that they could have been really making substantial income. I know, Justin, you've worked with content creators who have, because they've taken the right steps of understanding how to do this right, have made massive income from understanding brand deals properly, right?
100%. And I think that maybe this will be the point of the podcast where there's a little friction flying, Heather. But I actually have a very controversial stance, which is that you can actually make way more money on sponsorships than AdSense over the course of your career as a creator. I'm living proof of that with my wife and I's YouTube channel, right? And so the reason being is that I actually, here's an anecdote. I saw a pretty prominent creator share on Twitter recently that in the lifespan of their YouTube channel, it's like more of a micro creator, but like pretty prominent in their niche. They've made $7,000 on YouTube AdSense over like 2 or 3 years. And they just got one brand deal for $10,000. So if you can make a lot of money finding the right brand partners in one fell swoop, then all of this huge amounts of energy that you're putting out there to try to either get monetized on YouTube, which absolutely is a awesome goal, and you should definitely have it if, as part of your diversified creator business. It's a great income stream. But like, I think a lot of creators are just completely missing the boat and not even thinking about how much money you can actually make from sponsorships. Because again, going back to this whole thing about the value that you're providing brands, like they have the budgets to like get content, to partner with creators and get their name out there. And so I think it's just like a very important, again, a mindset shift around like, you don't just have to be making money from AdSense. There's lots of other ways in which you can do it.
Yeah, and I want to hit on that point too, because I think sometimes creators don't see actually the value that these brands are willing to pay for. And, when you go back to brands are willing to pay micro influencers. That's one of the specialties that you have, Justin, is understanding the micro influencer piece. Let's go down that path just a little bit, because I want people to start to see themselves not as just a YouTube creator, but like, what market are you actually impacting? And then how do you get the brands in that market to actually see you? What are some tactics as a micro influencer that you can do to actually get brands to see you?
So the number one piece of advice I can have to, about getting on brands' radar is to tag them. A lot of, like, when you're posting and post about them on social media, a lot of creators be like, well, if I post about them, why are they going to pay me for a campaign? And I'm just like, here's how it works. Let me walk you through it. Okay. Mm-hmm. When a brand decides that they want to run a paid influencer campaign, there is oftentimes, almost almost 100% of the time, there is going to be some sort of like promotion that they're running. Maybe it's a discount. Maybe it's the holidays. Maybe it's, 10% off. It's, use your code Justin20 for 20% off your first purchase. Whatever. There's something that there's a reason that they're running the campaign, right? When you're just posting about them organically on social media, are you seeing any of those talking points? Are you using the promo code? Are you doing any of that stuff? No, you're not doing any of that stuff because you're just sharing your authentic affinity for the brand or the product. And so this is like a giant, like mindset shift I need you to have around this, which is that this is the best way to get on the radar of the brand is to post about them. And then, oftentimes maybe this has happened to you. Maybe you tag them on Instagram or something like that. And then they, respond in your, stories or whatever. Oh, thank you so much for tagging me. Can we repost this on our, people get mad. They're like, oh, can we repost this on our page? And people will be like, no, they need to pay me. This is the perfect opportunity. You have your foot in the door now. They have shown you that they value you and your content. Now is the perfect chance to pivot this into a paid partnership. And you say, oh, thank you so much. Here's a template for you. Anyone listening, ready for a template? Here's a template. If this ever happens to you, you say, I'm so thrilled and honored that you like my content so much that you'd like to repurpose it. That actually, requires an investment. I would love to hop on a call. I have some other unique ideas that I could share about new content that I could create for you in addition to that. Are you free on Thursday at 1 p.m. to hop on a call? That's what you say. And here's another template. If they repost your content without your permission, you don't say, how dare you take this down? I'm going to contact my lawyers. No, you say, I'm so honored that you loved my content so much that you wanted to repost it. That requires an investment. Can you let me know the budget you've set aside to secure those rights? I'd love to hop on a call at Thursday at 1 p.m. to discuss some other ideas I have, right? So you don't go into it indignant. You go into it viewing this as an opportunity to get paid.
Oh, I'm over here just wanting to jump up and down, Justin, because you're speaking like a business owner. And if there's one quote that I love so much, it's Jay-Z. I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. And you partnering with brands, it's your likeness, it's your content, it's the effort that you're putting out there. And this is a rising economy. If there's one thing that is happening right now, it's brands understanding that normal TV commercials, not working, that normal advertising, not working. You know where people are? They're in their apps. They're in social media. They're on YouTube. And last question that I want to talk about is the idea of turning one video into a multiple video type content. Meaning, when you're negotiating and they're asking for one thing, how do you ask for more? Oh, is it on YouTube only? Or do you also want Instagram? Oh, is it how do you expand to ask for more money?
Okay, so let's talk about the reasons that a brand would pay you to make actually more content, okay? So just like what you said earlier, Heather, which is that brands have these budgets and they have to spend it, right? They got to pay creators. They have this budget allocated for them for this particular quarter or for this particular month, right? So when a brand reaches out to you, they're not just working with you. They're working with probably 5 other creators, 10 other creators, 25, 50, 100 other creators sometimes, these big campaigns, right? And so what does that actually mean? Put yourself in the brand's shoes. That means that they have 5, 10, 25, 50 other email threads that they have to manage, 50 other personalities, 50 other contracts that they have to deal with. And so when they come and ask you if you can make one video, what you are saying to them when you say, hey, you know what? I know you only asked me for one, but I can actually make 5 videos for you. In their mind, they're thinking wow, well, I can just hire Heather now for this, and I don't have to worry about working with 4 other creators, 4 other email threads, 4 other contracts. She's going to make my life easier. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to pay Heather 5 times the amount of money, right? So it's it's not just about oh, let's add on to this and let me give you a discount for no, you're not. You don't give them a discount. Stop giving them discounts. You're not a discount creator, okay? The reason that they're going to go with you for these other, packages that you're providing to them is because you're making their life easier, okay? And yes, there may be some situations where, maybe you want to, if it's a longer term deal or whatever, maybe there's some sort of, pricing concession, but that's not what you lead with. You don't be I'm going to give you a discount. If that's the one thing that you learn from me and my content and all this stuff is as a creator, stop negotiating against yourself. Oh, I normally charge $2,000, but I could do it for $1,000. Like before the brand ever says like our budget is $1,000, right? You're so excited for the deal. You negotiate against yourself. You're giving discounts. Just stop doing all that because you're worth it. You have value. Stop providing discounts if the brand's not asking for it, please. And so it's like, again, when it comes down to like, extending the deal, the one final like caveat that I want to give about this potential thing is that it's a lot easier to convince a brand to do a long-term partnership with you after they've had some experience working with you on one deal. So it may be somewhat difficult to like convince them to do a 6-month or 12-month deal with you right out the gates. But if you do one deal, you're very responsive, you're very professional, the content is super high quality. You provide a post-campaign report, which is something I teach in my course, right? You do all these things where you're like I'm a businessman, right? So it's like you do all those things, then they're going to be like, okay, let's hire him for a 6-month retainer thing. Right. So it's like, I know everyone wants these kind of like longer term deals, but it's just the reality. They're not going to, they've been burned too many times from creators who are not professional, who are not communicative. And so like they need to have a little bit of experience working with you to be able to justify doing something like that.
So good. So many nuggets right there. 1, don't lower your price. Okay. Don't lower your price. And then 2, be professional. If there's one thing that I wish more content creators would do in this industry, it's to be a business, is to put your business hat on and think, how would you want to be treated? How can you support the brand? And I can tell you from being the type of content creators that have gone above and beyond, we send Christmas gifts to our brand representatives. We know their kids' names. Like we do that because we want to be in partnership with them for a long time. And because of being able to be someone that's professional, that offers those things, we've secured brand deals where they've never paid creators that amount of money because they know that they can trust us to be good representations of their brand in that partnership. So Justin, oh my goodness, so many nuggets. If you want to go deeper with you, Justin, where should they go? How do they get involved? If they want to know the next step with you, what's the best way to do that?
All right. Well, the top thing that I would really, really, really recommend everyone listening to this to do would be to join my newsletter, because I literally every single week, it's a free newsletter. I send you paid sponsorship opportunities in the newsletter every single week. Okay. So you're definitely I also share like videos and about pitching tips and all that stuff. So if that's interesting to you, just go to creatorwizard.com/join. And then, I have, I'm on YouTube, TikTok, pretty much everywhere at Creator Wizard. And this is all I talk about, y'all. I don't talk about anything other than sponsorships and brand deals. So I know you guys love talking about, finding your niche on Think Media. And so like, this is my niche. This is all I talk about. So if that's something that you think sponsorship should play a role in your business, come hang out. Would love to connect.
So good. We also have a link for you down below in the description of the YouTube video, or if you're listening over on the podcast, we'll include it in the show notes. We've partnered with Justin to get you some free content that's behind the scenes. So you've got to go there, click on that link, and that'll help you get your first 14 days of understanding all this content. Justin walks you through a whole class on exactly how to set this up, what to do, how to approach brands, all the things happen. So make sure you click the link if you want to go over there. Justin, thank you so much for your time. It is so incredible to be with a content creator who understands the business side of it. So I just really appreciate you, all that you're doing to really help double the creator economy. I believe that you're one of the people in the forefront doing that. And I so appreciate your knowledge and all that you're bringing to our audience. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're so kind. Thanks for having me, Heather. It was a blast.
Wow. I mean, are you ready to get your first brand deal? I hope that there were so many magical nuggets there for you to help you figure out how to land that next deal. Actually, let me know if you're watching over on YouTube. Have you done your first brand deal, and what was your experience like? I would love to know that. And if you're listening over on audio right now, you can actually drop a review and let me know the same exact thing. Or if my cheeky plug, go over and subscribe on YouTube or go to this video over on that channel as well. But every single week, I love to bring to you one of our Think Fam community members who has left a review and rated this podcast show over on Apple Podcasts, because that is actually where the podcast can get to more listeners just like you. Today's review comes from Bordathayan, and they said, expand your community with great guidance. Relatively new to the scene in the past 6 months, and these have been great. The passion, guidance, and media is very useful. This week's episode explaining looking around and seeing defeat while in this community, people are crushing it as we make the impossible possible through opportunity was pulled right from my head. Love it. Well, thank you so much for leaving that review, rating our show here on Apple Podcasts. And we would just love if you would subscribe wherever you listen to this audio. And have you shared it with a friend yet? Do you know someone who needs to start to understand how to be growing their influence using YouTube specifically, and then turning that influence into a high impact and a high profit business? I know I'm going to share this episode specifically with a friend I have in mind, so it's coming at you. But thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. Stay locked into what we have here on the podcast. We have some incredible episodes coming your way with some special guests like Alex Hormozi, Patrick Bet-David, Gary Vaynerchuk, and so many more. So stay locked in here at the Think Media Podcast, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Spend time getting clear on the vision. Expand on that. What are some tips when we have multi-passions, we feel like we're everywhere, we're chasing shiny objects, we're comparing ourselves to others? What are your tips for getting clear, number one, on the vision?
So the challenge with social media today is there's so many different people, right? There's so many different influencers, and some have a different style. Who do you relate to? Like, who is you? When you watch everybody, who is you and what is your area of expertise? For us, we sat there and I said, this is how I talk. This is how I tell my stories. This is my style of communication. This is what I know a lot about. And then this is us. We're sticking to here versus, well, but I also want to talk about this and I also want to talk about this. The more you stay like this at the beginning, the more you can go like this later on. Because so many times content creators want to go wide very early. That's a mistake. Stay here at the beginning. Then as you get bigger and bigger, then you have the opportunity to go this way.
Welcome to the Think Media Podcast. My name is Heather Torres. I'm the host of your show here, and we are here to help you grow your influence with video and then take that influence and grow a high impact and a high profit online business. Now, if you're new to this podcast, every single Tuesday, we deliver a brand new episode to you. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you like to consume this content. I am so excited because today we're going behind the scenes of another session from our Grow with Video Live conference. We have someone that is a huge online mentor to me. I wish he was an in-person mentor, but he's definitely an online mentor through his amazing work that he does with Valuetainment. This is none other than Patrick Bet-David. If you're new to Patrick Bet-David and the work that he's doing right now to help entrepreneurs, let me just give you a little insight about who you'll be learning from today. Patrick Bet-David is popularly known as the founder and CEO of PHP Agency, a national financial services marketing company with over 15,000 agents across the country. And he is the creator of Valuetainment, one of the largest YouTube channels for entrepreneurs. His influence has amassed over 421 million views on his YouTube channel, where he helps entrepreneurs with weekly how-to tips, motivation, and interviews with unique individuals. Patrick is a best-selling author of the book, Your Next 5 Moves, teaching smart entrepreneurs practical and effective strategies for thinking more clearly and achieving your most audacious professional goals. Now, in this episode, Sean and Pat are sitting down to discuss the author notes of the book, Your Next 5 Moves, and they're going to be sharing with you the content execution strategy for how you could be scaling up your content this year. I'm excited for you to jump into today's featured content, so lean in and let's get into the conversation between Patrick Bet-David and Sean Cannell.
15 moves to transform a weekly segment into a channel focused on entrepreneurship. Now, your channel could be focused on whatever you want. He talked about the 7 categories, and there's so many, but apply this to your channel. So, Pat, let's dive into this, and can I get your author notes on these?
Sure.
All right, so number one, spend time getting clear on the vision. Expand on that. What are some tips when we have multi-passions, we feel like we're everywhere, we're chasing shiny objects, we're comparing ourselves to others? What are your tips for getting clear, number one, on the vision?
So the challenge with social media today is there's so many different people, right? There's so many different influencers, and some have a different style. Like, I had a guy the other day ask me a question, and he said, hey, should I drop F-bombs? Because I see some people who do, and it's working out well for them. I said, what do you mean drop F-bombs? Because maybe that's why I'm not getting any subscribership. I said, that's not why you're not getting subscribership, okay? You don't need to start cursing. People are not coming for that. Is who do you relate to? Like, who is you? When you watch everybody, who is you and what is your area of expertise? For us, we sat there and I said, this is how I talk. This is how I tell my stories. This is my style of communication. This is what I know a lot about. This is what we want to go to next. Here's where I see the market's lacking. And then this is us. We're sticking to here versus, well, but I also want to talk about this and I also want to talk about this. The more you stay like this at the beginning, the more you can go like this later on. The challenge isn't that you will never be able to go wide, because so many times content creators want to go wide very early. That's a mistake. Stay here at the beginning. Then as you get bigger and bigger, then you have the opportunity to go this way. The same way with creating wealth. A lot of times people read books on multiple streams of income. That's how you make your money today. Maybe, but to me, I would much rather put 10 years in one industry like this, then make a few $100 million or $10 million or $5 million, and then I'll go like this. But not, I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this. No, pick one thing, stick to that, and then you'll have the biggest advantage later on.
Number two is consult with our creative team to brainstorm new names for the channel. So if we're launching a new project, and I want to hit this from a couple levels, you're far along in your career. You had dollars as you started Valuetainment, but let's hit level number one. What's your advice for somebody on that tip that is thinking, I don't necessarily have a creative team, I'm trying to sit down and maybe start building a team. Resources are maybe limited. We have so many entrepreneurs though in the room, and they're maybe trying to get the mindset of investing, how to build a media company, how do I hire? Let's speak to level one and then maybe those that are further along.
So look, I'm coming out, a guy at the airport we're talking to, a Syrian guy. He's an actor trying to make it in Hollywood, but he's also in Miami. So we're talking. I said, if I wanted to be an actor, here's what I would do. Notice how Adam Sandler makes movies with the same 5 guys over and over and over again, okay? Notice how Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, how many times they did the same thing. Notice how Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence notice how people that started making movies, Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn. How many guys seen Swingers? If you have ever seen that documentary before, it's a true story, by the way. Okay, you watch all these movies, right? And you're like, okay, Wedding Crashers. They keep doing things together. This is the point. If you're at the beginning and you don't have a lot of resources, pick 3 to 5 people that also want to create content, and then collaborate with the technology you buy together. I'll put 500, you put 500, let's buy a few things together, and then let's use it. And then you'll find people, I'll be your camera guy, you be my camera guy. Hey, I'm learning how to edit. Can you learn how to edit? There's so many, nowadays, everything is accessible for people to learn how to edit. I got a 10-year-old son that's learning how to edit. Okay, I mean, it's so easy today to learn, but I would probably find another group like here. This is a great place to network and meet other people. When this event ends, don't go to your room or just go by people that you know. Go shake hands with people that you were impressed with the most. Go network here and say, hey, here's what we're thinking about doing. What's working out for you, right? And then start a community and build on that. Today's iPhone is what a great camera was 10 years ago. A $3,000 camera, $5,000 camera is today's iPhone. You can create picture-perfect content with just a phone today, and almost everybody here's got an iPhone.
What about level 2? You're wanting to scale up and you're scaling Valuetainment. I just saw a picture of your building. You're putting the logo on the outside. It's new levels. For those that are maybe like, okay, you're adding personalities, you're looking for talent to make your content even better. What are just some brief tips on what you think about scaling to the next level of a media company?
So the media company, it's something that it's got to matter to you, because it's a very hard game. It's not easy to be able to go do that. But if you do want to go that route, for us, we're recruiting talent right now. And the talent kind of has to fit what our main core values are. The number one core value for us is capitalism. I'm concerned about America today. I'm concerned certain arguments about certain economical systems is convincing people today. And I see a lot of people, this is a challenge a lot of times with doers. A lot of times doers are quiet. Complainers are loud. Doers are quiet. Doers just kind of put their heads down and go build their family, take care of their wife, their husband, their kids. They're good citizens locally, and they have a lot of tolerance. So when people are talking and they're loud, they don't say anything. What they don't realize is happening is the people that are in the middle that are oblivious. Think the complainers are right and you're wrong for staying quiet. So my fear is the fact that this great system of capitalism that allows a regular guy like me to win at the highest level, at the level that I'm at right now, and other people in America around the world, especially a guy that left Iran, people think that's a bad system. Yeah, I'm going to explain the story in a completely different way. Okay, I'm going to go out there and make my nose in my own way to make sure people still see that capitalism, the most fairest system that's out there for people to build their dream life, whatever that may be. You may want to just make $100 grand a year being at home. You may want to make $1 million. You may want to be a billion. It doesn't matter. Capitalism allows for all those systems to be in place. Capitalism allows somebody to go with the company. I'm reading a book right now called After Steve, meaning after Steve Jobs. It just came out a few weeks ago. And it tells a story about how many people that got stock options at Apple, that's worth 100 times today. 10 years ago when they were like, guy was in there, next thing you know, he's got $18 million in stocks. Some of you guys may not start businesses, but some of you guys may team up with a Sean and the company grows and you're part of that grind together and you win that way. There's so many ways to do it, but for us, once your messaging is clear, then the world starts realizing that you really stand up genuinely for that message. Then people show up, and when they do, realize that you sold the vision and the dream, you have to come through on that vision and the dream. If you just say it and it's lip service, everybody will realize it. And then if you want to build that media company, it's 60 to 80 hours a week for a long time. So if you really want to do that, cannot wait to see you guys do that part. But the right person who wants to build a media company and compete at that level, nobody needs to sell you or push you away from doing it. You're going to do it, and you're going to be okay with the work that it requires.
That's level 2, man. Tip number 3 or move number 3, and I love this one, is buy and study every book on marketing and media that exists. I can't believe I was like, wow. I mean, how many? But I want to hear from you. What would be some of the top? First of all, of course, the principle is if you ever want to kind of move into a new vertical, study the greats. One of my favorite tips from you is there's a certain number of reviews. What's your criteria for the books you should read? It
used to be 200. Right now, it's probably 500.
At least 500 reviews.
If a book's if I want to, like, I got 2 boys, 2 girls. If I want to learn how to raise girls, I'll buy any book on a father raising a daughter, over 500 reviews, and I want to read those books.
Powerful. Okay, so what are a couple books on marketing and media that you'd recommend this room read?
It's the old one, The Advertising Man.
Ogilvy?
Yes, it's the old one.
Yeah.
Anything with Kellogg. There's another one called Positioning, which is fascinating. Positioning is fascinating. Contagious is a must. It's an orange book. There's so many of them. I did a whole video when I said the top 10 to read on marketing, but you know, the thing about marketing is people think sales and marketing is the same thing. You know this, you've been in business long enough. There's a different ability in marketing versus sales. Sales is, here's the options, let me find out what your pressure points are, let me get the objections, I know the FAQs, we're getting to a point, which one do you want to go? Do you see any reason why we shouldn't get started today? No, we do. Marketing is storytelling, knowing who not to compete with. You know who's going to be a waste of time, that you're going to lose that battle. Like, look at Jake Paul. Jake Paul fought 2 UFC fighters. Where did Jake Paul fight him? Did he fight him in UFC rules or boxing rules?
Boxing.
Why did he fight him in boxing rules? What would have happened if Jake Paul fought Ben Askren in UFC rules? Who do you think? It's game over. Wait, so look how much of a genius he is where he's getting people to fight in his turf. So marketing is you getting your story to be in an area that you have an advantage, not your competitors.
Number 4 is identify who we don't want to be as much as who we want to be. What a powerful move.
Yeah, very early on. I mean, I used to ask myself, do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? What's the point of getting married? Everybody says, I want to get married. Why do you want to get married? Well, that's what you're saying. Everybody's getting married around me. Who cares if everybody's getting married? Why do you want to get married? No one's ever asked me that question before. Maybe you want to ask that question. Why do you want to get married? Half the time when you date, it's not about what you're looking for. It's what you know for a fact you ain't looking for. You know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, after the last two, I know for a fact I'm not going to be wanting this, this, and this. All the other stuff I can tolerate. The same thing goes with business, right? Who do you not want to be? Look at everybody in the market and say, I'm not that guy. That's not me. This isn't me. Not who you want to be. You already know who you want to be. It's who you don't want to be. And that part takes a little bit more work to figure out.
We're going to jump right back into today's featured conversation, but I wanted to let you know about a brand new free masterclass and downloadable guide that's available for you at 21videotips.com. If you like content like this that you're learning from Patrick Bet-David and Sean Cannell, you can get 21 more video marketing tips from people like Patrick Bet-David, Vanessa Lau, Pat Flynn, Alex Hermosi, and so many industry experts that are using powerful strategies for their video marketing today. You're going to learn the best kept business secrets inside of this masterclass and free downloadable guide. So head over to 21videotips.com to get instant access for free and learn how you can level up your business and brand from today's top industry experts. Now let's get back into today's featured content.
Move number 5, make the channel about the mission rather than my personality. And one of the powerful points in your talk was you're building a business and a personal brand, but you're saying make the channel about the mission. Explain that.
Yeah, so, you know, because, again, if you're trying to be an individual brand alone, it's not the mission. It's got to be around you and your personality. That's going to be fine. But if it is around building a company around the brand, it's got to be a mission. Because a mission, all of a sudden, what happens the following. Say, for instance, how many of you guys have seen that one channel? It's called Dad, How Do I? Have you seen that channel, Dad, How Do I? Have you guys heard of that channel, Dad, How Do I? Do you guys know how many subscribers he got in his first month? 1 million subscribers in his first month, okay? 1 million. The guy's in his mid-50s, right? So he says, hi, I don't know what his name is. We've communicated a few times. He says, today I'm going to show you what to do if you have a leak in the plumbing. This is what you do. It's a 5-minute video, and he shows you how to do it. Today I'm going to show you what happens if your doorknob breaks down. Here's how to fix it. You go to Home Depot, you buy this, this, this. You're just kind of like, what a sweet man. I love this man. Man, I need to know, because secretly I have no clue how to fix my plumbing when it leaks. Other people need to watch this as well. Cool. For that, the mission is more about, I wish I had a father like him growing up that taught me how to do this, right? People connect with that. But to him, that's him. It's not really, I'm going to take over the world, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But if you're trying to build it into a company, the mission is going to matter a lot, because people connect emotionally to a mission. This book, again, I'm reading after Steve. One of the guys that's around with Apple who had a different way of looking at the company than Tim Cook, he kept trying to think about the way that Steve Jobs built a company, because to him, it was all about think different. Versus to Tim Cook, it's, hey, what does Spotify charge? This much? Let's pay this much. Boom. Now we got 20 million reoccurring people that are using our Apple. So, but Steve Jobs would say, I don't care what Spotify charges. We think different. You use Apple because of this. So Apple has lost the mission and the vision. It's become a little bit more logical, even though it's a $3 trillion company right now, $2 trillion company right now. The younger generation is not saying, I want to go work for Apple. The younger engineers coming out saying, I want to work for who? What's the younger generation say they want to work for? The younger engineers coming out of Harvard, who do they want to work for? One guy, Elon Musk. Because to him, it's what? We're going to go to Mars. We're going to go to this. We're going to go build this. So it's like the mission, the vision. Man, I want to be around this guy. I want to work with a guy like this. That's when you're drawing people in. So yeah, the mission and the vision is going to matter if that's your vision.
Number 6, create a new logo, name, and website that embodies a leading educator. This is maybe something we don't take that seriously. We just throw up some channel art, we get on Canva, we do some things. This was a serious move for you. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, again, if it matters to you. My son picks out his clothes, my middle son, my second son. My oldest son, he'd go out with sandals. He could care less what he wears. I'm not even kidding with you. My middle son, he goes, he takes my cologne, he does this, he puts the gel perfectly, he puts his necklace out, he puts the belt, tucks his shirt in, perfect nice shoes, and he walks out like this, okay? To him, he's a brand. To my oldest son, he could care less. Here's a point. If your logo excites you because there's a story behind it, that's what matters. It excites me because the logo we have with the lion, the Valuetainment logo, it's a lion and an eagle. It's tattooed on Mario's forearm here. It's a story about a fiction book I wrote that we're publishing right now. It's taken me 11 years to finally feel comfortable publishing this book because it's a story about me being from Iran, Assyrian. It's depth. To me, you'll feel it because it matters to me. But if it's like, listen, I really don't care about what kind of clothes I wear, don't worry about it. Neither do people either. You may sell people in a different way. So logo and color only matters if you're that kind of a person. If you're not, don't overthink it.
And when maybe not a logo, if you don't have to overthink it, if that's not a value, but what do you think about the value of picking the right name, especially as a content creator in business or in any niche, as well as securing your website as a to-do list in these moves?
It has to matter to you. Again, it goes back to you. Okay, folks, on 3, scream out your favorite name in the world that you gave to your kid. Or if you don't have a kid right now, you would name your kid that name because you love it. You ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Okay. For me, my favorite name in the world is first Patrick, Gabriel, Bet-David. Patrick's me. Gabriel's my dad. Bet-David's my last name. My second name, my wife and I love this name, Dylan. Do you know why I love Dylan? Does anybody love the name Dylan? I love Dylan because I love Luke Perry. The guy was a stud, Luke Perry, right? I like this Dylan guy, right? Everybody had their own character. To me, Luke Perry was like the bomb, right? Chill, cool, you know? I like the name Dylan. I like Dylan. My daughter's name is Senna Rose Bet-David. You know why Senna? Because I love Ayrton Senna, the race car driver from Brazil. It's spelled the same way as a race car. I've watched his documentary over 100 times. I'll sit at midnight and watch the documentary of Senna and get the chills all over. Anytime I want to compete, anytime I'm in a place where I'm just kind of like, we're going to do something big, I put the documentary at night because my blood is boiling. So my daughter's name is Senna Rose Bet-David. Rose is my grandma's name. Senna's the race car driver's name. Everything has a meaning to it. But to me, to you, if your company's name has meaning to you, it's going to have meaning to everybody else because of the way you sell it to them. Make sense? It's the best way I'll explain company names.
Number 7 is attend social media industry conferences and learn different strategies. Wow, you're making the right moves. Just look at the name. And I just want to ask on that one, how do you decide? You're super busy. You're running 2 companies at an incredibly high level, putting in a ton of hours. How much time do you budget for learning and conferences or continued education?
Regularly. I don't have a choice. Here's why. This is my interpretation of what you just said. The only way, in my mind, I'm convinced I'm not yet ready for the next level, whatever the next level is for me, right? In my mind. So if I want to get to the next level, I have to meet a new PBD, new version of myself. Okay. So this year, I look at the weaknesses of our businesses and our management team, bless you. On the insurance side, on my sales side, and Valuetainment home office side, right? Valuetainment is a startup. Insurance, I hired 5 C-suite executives. They all have fancy degrees. They all work for big insurance companies, and now they're coming to work for a guy like me, and I hired them all at the same time. It's problematic when you hire 5 C-suite alpha people who are all very good at what they do, who have all been part of a publicly traded company, and you put them in, now you got 7 of them, and they're working with me. So I looked at everybody, and I started seeing that people are having a hard time having crucial conversations together. And I said, whose fault is this? I said, okay, no problem. Here's what I'm going to do. There's an organization in Utah called Crucial Learning, okay? I used them 15 years ago or 12 years ago. Love their program. They're $15,000 to use. By the way, I don't make money if you call these guys. They're $15,000 to use, and then you got to fly everybody in, and you got to get a hotel room. It's around $30,000. 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, Wednesday, I brought them in. They trained 20 of my employees of Valuetainment for 2 days straight. I was in the room from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The next day, Thursday, Friday, I flew them out to go to Addison, Texas. First one was in Fort Lauderdale. Second one was in Addison, Texas. They trained all my C-suite executives and my directors for 8 to 4, 2 days in a row, because we needed to learn how to have crucial conversations together. Then I'm taking all my top 20 earners, sales leaders, and I'm putting them in the room. Then I'm going to have my 40 VPs take their 20 best salespeople, sit them in the room to learn how to have tough conversations together. Because 90% of the reasons why companies don't grow and there's challenges in any organization, people do not know how to talk to each other in a tough way. They don't know, so they do the biggest mistake, which is what? Don't even talk to each other. Do you know what happened ever since? By the way, and every time I've done these types of meetings, which I do a lot, the first person everybody wants to have a crucial conversation with is who? With me. They're like, well, Pat, you know, I want to have this conversation. I just want you to know I respect the work you do. You're a great leader. However, there's a couple areas I'm like, okay, give it to me, right? But I'm proud of them because they're learning how to do this. So to go back and to answer your question for you, 10 years ago when we were going to do creating content, I wasn't yet convinced. We went to a social media world. I don't know what it was. It was in San Diego, and one of the guys, his name was Michael Hyatt. You may know Michael Hyatt. He's from Tennessee. He used to run Thomas Nelson, I want to say, was the CEO. And he got up and he gave a message and about podcasts. And I said, you know what? I understand that. And another guy named John Lee Dumas spoke. He was an Army guy, and I'm an Army guy. I said, if these guys are doing it, you know what? Let me consider this. So they played the role in my life where maybe other people played the role in your life. So these investments, as you make these investments, everyone's going to have some kind of a shift in you, but hopefully you get the right messaging to lead. But for me, it's ongoing. That's probably never going to stop for the rest of my life.
All right, so we're going to do number 8, and because of our time allotment, I need a couple things. Number 1, I need you to message PBD on social media to see if he'll do a part 2 on the podcast. Number 2, we're going to look at this final tip here, and these have been so amazing, though. Number 2, though, is get the book, because you could see, because you're like, wait, you said there's going to be all 15 moves. Then you need to listen to that podcast that we hopefully do together. And then, of course, number 3, though, is seriously get this book.
This guy's a pro.
Yeah.
This guy's a pro. You just put the pressure on me. I got to commit.
And
I like his style.
No hype at all, man. This book is really amazing. Your next 5 moves, and this is page 232, and you're not going to know all the tips, but we will hit number 8 to land the plane on 15 moves. You were so strategic, and just think it through. I'm going to lay out my moves as I'm going to approach my next target, and that's how we're ending our day, right? So I hope you're taking notes and thinking about what are some of your next moves for your business, your brand. But number 8 is start learning the language of media and what needs to be tracked. Of course, in your session, you hit a lot of this, but I'd love your author notes on learning the language of media, but also for you what matters when it comes to tracking in valuetainment.
Everything is data. So for me, 7 years ago, 2014 will be what? 8 years ago, Tom Ellsworth, who is a guy that introduced me to Vistage, and I was part of Vistage. He was the guy that my pastor's like, you got to meet this guy, Tom Ellsworth, smartest guy in the church. I meet Tom, and then one guy whispers, he says, you know who that guy is? I said, I have no clue who he is. He gave $660,000 to the church last year. I said, he gave 660, 10%, 6.6. Okay, respect. How you doing? Good to meet you, you know? It's like, so then we start talking. I'm like, this guy's brilliant. So he was part of a company called JamDad. They sold it to EA Sports for $680 million. So we're sitting there, we're talking to each other, and while we're having this conversation, he starts mentoring me about media and all this stuff. 2014, he says, Pat, you need a BI. I said, BI? We need to hire business analytics expert. Like, how much are they? 60 grand. Nope, I'm good. Not right now. We can't hire them. Just trust me. You need to hire a business analyst. I said, we can get one. $8 an hour. You know, I mean, you understand what I'm saying? It's like, listen, just trust me. It's 60 a year minimum. We have a good one. We'll get him. I said, okay, whatever. We can hire one. He says, but my recommendation, we hire 3. He says, we hire 3, we keep 2, and then one of them who stays with us, that's the best one, we give him a raise. I'm like, so you want me to do 180? It's not really 180. It's just, I'm telling you, I'm like, so I said, okay, whatever. I'm not convinced, guys. I'm very skeptical at this time because in my mind, I'm doing 15 grand a month. And there's better places I can invest 15 grand a month in my eyes, right? He says, just trust me. You hired me to be your president. Let me do my job. I said, fine, whatever. So he goes, he hires a 3. Brings them in. 3 weeks into it, these guys come to my office. They say, hey, Mr. David, we noticed a couple things we want to bring to your attention. Did you know that when it comes down to your ratios of licensing to how many new agents you bring, did you know that this state does the best ratios because of this person and that person? And did you know this state that we think are the best in the company, they're actually the worst in getting people licensed? I said, let me see this thing right here. That's pretty sick. Is this serious? Yeah, this one. Tom, this is big. I told you. So the next thing you know, I get on a call and I start going and visiting those offices. Licensing came up. We doubled licensing. We went from 500 to 1,200. I'm like, and he said, hey, Mr. David, we have 3 other things we'd like to share. Whenever you have some time, we want to show this to you, and I would come in. So if you look at this here, when it comes down to this data, you notice that and I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. So then one day I get out of control. I'm like, you know what I want you to pull up? What? I want you to pull up this is kind of weird stuff you're going to hear from me. I want you to pull up which zodiac sign makes the most money in the company. So I'm thinking to see how good these guys are, whether they can pull it up. No problem. Give us 1 day. Like, these guys are serious. The next day, do you know? And I'm thinking, because I'm a Libra, I'm like, for sure it's going to be Libras at the top. So I say, tell me who's at the top. He says, well, the best sign for people who make the most money is Aries. I said, what? I said, what's 2? Cancer. What's 3? You know who was last? Libra was last. I was so I'm like, this doesn't work. This is not accurate, right? I said, throw this trash away. I don't want to look at it again, right? But the point is, everything became data because all of a sudden, it's like somebody put on a lens and I see like a new dimension I never saw before. Data allows you to adjust and improve in areas and not put time in areas that you're not getting the return, and put more time into areas you are getting a return. Same thing that I did with the insurance company, we did the same exact way with valuetainment. And obviously the data shows what happened with us, because without data, you're not going to improve. So yes, great point on the data. If you're not doing it, highly recommend it.
Well, there's 8 of your next moves. Can we give it up for Patrick Bet David?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation from Growth Video Live with Patrick Bet David and Sean Cannell. And let me know in the comments. I know we only got through a few of those steps. Do you want to hear the rest of them? We would love to bring Patrick back on or have a discussion between myself and Sean. But let me know in the comment section on YouTube. Do you want the rest of the author notes from Patrick Bet David? Let me know by leaving a review or that comment in the YouTube channel. We'll also make sure to link Patrick's book down below, and you can get that on audio or in Kindle or physical copy. It is an excellent book that I recommend that you read from cover to cover with your highlighter and pens ready. Thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. We have so many amazing conversations like this coming to the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you like to consume your content. And I want to thank those who have been rating and reviewing the podcast. You can go to Apple Podcasts to leave your review or leave a comment down below on the YouTube channel. Today's featured community member comes from Risen Sons 89. Advice and insight is unmatched. I've been listening to this podcast for almost 2 years now, and I finally started my YouTube channel a few months ago. Trust me, the advice and insight they offer is truly unmatched. Thank you, Think Media. Well, Rising Sons, thank you so much for leaving that comment, and I'm so excited that you started your YouTube channel. I cannot wait to see what happens in 52 weeks from now when you've got one video out every single week, what that's going to do to your business and your brand. Congratulations on getting started. Well, hey, if you've not liked this video, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And have you shared this podcast with a friend? If you know an entrepreneur, a content creator who needs to know information like this, then make sure you share this podcast with them. It would be an honor to get to help your friends and family grow their online business as well. Thanks so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Most of the Honda vehicles sold in America are built in America using globally and domestically made parts. Right now, well-qualified buyers can lease a Accord for $299 a month or get 3.99% APR financing. For details, see your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealer.
People
people don't grow because they want money to buy things. A lot of people's businesses don't grow because they want the business to give them money so they can get a Corvette. This is back to you've got to find the thing you like. Because if you're building a brand or your thing to buy the yacht, you're not going to build a very big thing. So for me, this thing that we're talking about, I don't want the things that come from being the best entrepreneur in the world. I just want to be the best entrepreneur in the world.
As content creators in this day and age, it is critical that we have the pulse on what's actually happening in this world. When it comes to social media, YouTube, when it comes to scaling your business, how do you actually get out there and make content that people want to hear? In today's episode, we're going to be diving into some exclusive content that we had at our annual event, Grow with Video Live, where Sean Cannell and Gary Vaynerchuk sat down to discuss things like how social media and YouTube are changing, how TikTok is gunning for everyone right now, and why short form video is critical for your content strategy right now. I want to welcome you to the Think Media podcast. My name's Heather Torres, the host of this show here at Think Media, where we want to help you grow your influence using video and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high income online business. If you're new to the podcast family, we want to welcome you and ask you subscribe wherever you're consuming this content, whether it be the audio version or over on our Think Media podcast YouTube channel, where we have exclusive content just for you over there. So make sure you're subscribed, and every single Tuesday you'll get a brand new upload. Plus, on our YouTube channel, we have additional videos and content like our industry expert friends that come and teach, as well as short form and other long form videos that you don't want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you're consuming this content. Now, today's episode is special to me because this is someone who I have personally been following and seeing his career explode over the last probably decade when it comes to the online space. This is Gary Vaynerchuk. He was one of our keynote speakers at Grow with Video Live 2022. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Gary Vaynerchuk, he's actually a serial entrepreneur and he serves as the chairman of VaynerX. He's the CEO of VaynerMedia and the creator and CEO of VFriends. Gary is a New York Times bestselling author of books like Crush It, The Thank You Economy, Jab, 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 Right Hook, and his latest book, 12 and a Half. From starting his first YouTube channel in the basement of his father's liquor store to creating a massive online following of over 40 million people across all the platforms of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, Gary's actually one of the leading experts in online marketing, helping entrepreneurs like you learn how to get attention online. So this is an exclusive conversation between Sean Cannell and Gary Vaynerchuk that they had at Grow with Video Live. And I do need to say a disclaimer. Normally, we are a very family-friendly podcast. But if you know anything about Gary V, you know that he definitely is abrasive in his language. So if you've got little ones around, this would be the episode where you plug in those earbuds. This is not something I personally would play in the car around my kids unless they are age appropriate for the language used in this. I believe that everyone can create content however they'd like, but we just want to make sure that you know that this is family friendly here at Think Media. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk is going to be talking about social media in this context, and he actually did a talk at Growth Video where he dove into just the content strategy that you should be having right now. So this is an extension of that talk that he gave that Sean got to really go deeper in some of the topics. I'm excited for you to jump into this. I'll meet you on the other side of the content. Lean in, Think Media fam, and here you go with Gary Vaynerchuk.
Let's rock and roll. Hey, a couple questions from the man, VaynerMedia. You're in touch with what's happening. And one of the things that Susan, the CEO of YouTube, put in the letter at the beginning of the year was that YouTube is talking about integrating NFTs. One of the things that they put out there, who knows if they'll execute. Do you have any thoughts about that? And should creators be waiting for that? I mean, what would your advice be? And do you think they're going to execute that well?
I'm not sure on the last part because there's a million things going to that I have no clue on. I think on the first part, you have to understand, that last thing I ended with, or right before I ended, like, people really, like, again, for the youngsters, this may sound crazy, people really thought the internet was a fad, like, actually, right? And I thought everybody would have a website and every company, and they did. Social media really was weird. Like, people really didn't want it to happen. They thought it was awkward. They thought it was stupid. They thought it was for just kids. Most people have a social network, right, that they're involved in. There's not a business on earth that's not going to have NFT infrastructure. It doesn't make any sense. It's technology. Right now, everyone's too fascinated on the art and the collectibles part. That's a tiny thing. Everyone's focused on the art and collectibles with a hint of utility, like I just did with VCon. The NFT is a ticket. It's going to flip. It's utilities with a hint of collectability. Everyone of Delta, your ticket, that might be worth $3 because it has some artist on it, but there's a million of them, right? So, of course they're going to integrate it. There's no alternative.
TikTok just made a major move, and they talked about a 50-50 split, which would be the first platform that's come in for YouTube's super generous ad rev share. That has been a major, I think, a reason why creators flock there. It pays the best. Right now, it's limited to big creators, 100,000. And what do you think in terms of your predictions and TikTok gunning for everybody right now?
Look, I think they've done a really good job. I think, first of all, their algorithm is based on the interest graph instead of the social graph, which is a huge advantage. And I believe in merit. So my favorite thing is to look at all your TikToks where this video got 17 views, this one got 430, and this one got 1.9 million. That feels like merit. Everybody's Instagram being around the same numbers doesn't feel like merit. And so I think we're intoxicated by the merit of it. They've been very aggressive. They've already won. And now they're just going to expand. That's what everybody does, right? So they won on this thing. Now they're saying, oh, you can make longer videos. Oh, you can write more. Like today, I was like, wait a minute, I can write more copy. I missed the headlines. I've been in like a cocoon for 4 months with VCon and Series 2B friends. So they'll just create everything. And so, yeah, I mean, I think they're incredibly aggressive. They're still acting like a small company. They're innovating. And now they've got everybody following them. They're the clear leader, in my opinion, of the attention graph, which I think is the most important currency in the world. And I think it's a smart move.
If backstage, you said something, you said that short form is a gateway to long form. So what would your strategy be for that? If you're making TikToks, you're getting the short form reach. Is long form substance in your opinion? And does that mean send people off platform? Does that mean try to get TikTok to get your account to 10 minutes, which is super interesting, longer form vertical video? What do you mean by short form as a gateway to long form, and what would the tactics be in that?
It means that a lot of long form creators don't focus on short form and vice versa. And there's a reason I have 1 hour keynote videos and 1 hour podcasts, but also pound unlimited micro content that's 10 seconds long. You can go very tactical, and a lot of people want to hear that are like, should I make a TikTok that says watch the rest on YouTube? It's less about that. People will find you. They become intrigued. Your URL strategy on all your social networks should be very thoughtful. I'm constantly changing them based on whatever my objectives are. But it just means that the world of content creating should be always thought about as and I notice that everybody's into or. Right? People are insecure. Most of you did not start on TikTok fast enough because you didn't have followers on it. You didn't start on TikTok fast enough because you had 80,000 followers on Instagram and you had 0 on TikTok, and you didn't like that feeling. That's why celebrities lost the first time around. So like the things that you made fun of people for on Instagram, you became on TikTok. And so, I think it's always and. Everyone's like, or. They're like, Gary, I'm already on Instagram. They love using like logical excuses like, Gary, I need to focus. I'm like, cool. Knock yourself out. I'll talk to you in 36 months when you're crying. You're focusing on losing. The lack of humility and the lack of interest in putting in the work on a new thing because you just figured out the last thing is why most people don't grow. There's not an accident that I've been winning on every platform for the last 15 years. It's called humility and hard work. You think I was pumped when I had 1 million followers on Twitter and Instagram came along? I was pissed. I'm like, I'm winning this bird game. But I'm like, everyone's gonna go there, so I need to go. You think I was pumped when TikTok came along? I was dominating the gram. I was like, that's where it's gonna be. So the lack of humility and the lack of like I don't want to learn this new thing. I just got this. That's fine. There's a problem, though. What you want has nothing to do with what the market is doing. The market doesn't give a shit about your feelings. The market's not like, oh, Tyrone spent a lot of time on Instagram. We should not create TikTok. You think God's thinking like that? Get the fuck out of here.
Gary, that's a great lead-in to
But it's like, right? It's like the hypocrisy's hilarious, especially within social. You won on YouTube or you won on Instagram doing that to the person that was holding on to Twitter or Facebook, but then you're mad when TikTok's doing it to you. The hypocrisy is deafening.
powerful. That's, come on, yeah. Gary, that's a great lead-in to...
By the way, I am laughing so... Did you see this? No video. Hard drive crashed.
Yep, got it. I know.
Makes me laugh.
Brutal. I know, right? But it's nice.
See, you have to adjust to reality.
We're adjusting. We got to pivot right now.
You wanted some sort of video.
That's right.
But the hard drive crashed.
We got to pivot.
Got to pivot.
Yeah, life is life.
I'm pumped that you got a blue check on Instagram, but here comes TikTok to f it up. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You're going to sit and hope? I'm watching everybody like hope. I hope this TikTok thing doesn't happen. All of you got forced in. Technology will beat your... I love all of you that don't think NFTs are coming. You will lose. You're pumped that the market's down. See? See nothing. I'll see you in 2027.
Let's go, baby! Hey, I love this lead into TikTok. There's a lot of people in the room they're at a place where a lot of people doing really well. I mean, some people starting out, and you always say, if you don't got money, but you got time, you got to put the sweat equity in. But there's people in the room, they have money, and I'd like to hear about Team Gary Vee. And a lot of people thinking, okay, to do this, because you say, I went on TikTok, but part of the way you're doing that is because people are multiplying your content, you're casting vision. Can you speak into maybe, Team Gary Vee is pretty advanced now.
Yes.
Can we start a little bit at the beginning as you think about those that would say, what about my first hires? How do I even do this? I'm great at real estate or financial services, but okay, how do I start, where do I get my D-Rock? Where do I get the whole thing? Speak to early stages of building that team to help you grow with video.
You need to hire people that do things that you don't want to do.
Yes. Where do you find them?
The internet. People say things that drive me crazy because they don't want to do it. As if you can't find it. Are you telling me you're at this conference and you can't find people? You don't know what Fiverr is, you don't know how to post on LinkedIn, you don't know how to search terms on Twitter. People come up with excuses. A lot of people don't grow because they want money to buy things. A lot of people's businesses don't grow because they want the business to give them money so they can get a Corvette or a second. This is back to you've got to find the thing you like. Because if you're building a brand or your thing to buy the yacht, you're not going to build a very big thing. I'm just building the thing to build the thing. It's more interesting for me to build the thing than it is. It's like this. Some people actually, here's a great comp. This blew my mind. One of the most stunning things that happened to me in my life. My whole life, I've wanted to be a professional athlete, right? So by 5th grade, I was like, I don't think I can play for the Jets. These kids have gotten much bigger and stronger. In fact, I had such good hand-eye coordination that I was killing people in 1st and 2nd and 3rd grade. But somewhere around 5th grade, I'm like, why is everyone twice my size now? And so I was like, this might not be in the cards, and that's when I decided to buy the Jets. But I was like, if I can't play for it, I'll just own the whole thing. So now me and AJ get into the sports business and we have a big practice now. And when I realized that a lot of kids play professional sports, but they don't love the game, it was just their best way to monetize, that blew my mind. And I mean, really don't like it. And even when we recruit kids now, I never want to recruit a kid that doesn't love the game. Because I don't think they're going to be at the, because we make our money on the 2nd and 3rd contract. There's kids that sign up